Alright, welcome back to the channel everyone. My name is Scott Adamson, and if you saw some of our other videos, I put together a video kind of on what are some of the van life items that I include in every build. And today we're going to be talking about some of the little van life hacks items that I always have with me, and some of them you might know and some of them you might not know about. So let's roll that intro and we'll get into it. So you may or may not know that I've been traveling around in a self-converted Sprinter van for the last 4 years. And over the last 4 years, I've picked up a lot of tips and tricks on different things that, you know, I never would have thought of before living in the van. And some of them come from other people that were little tips and tricks that they passed along on the way. So here we go. Here's a little list of some of the things that I always have in the van with me. Some of them you might need, some of them might not. So item number one is I always have an AeroPress with me. I'm a big coffee guy. Part of coffee for me is just, I love coffee. I love the routine. When you're in the van, it's hard to have a routine because you're always traveling around, you're always in different places. So routine is very tough. So for me, just having that routine of that morning cup of coffee, it's sort of one of the few constants I do have when I'm on the road. And I found that the AeroPress for me, it's one of the quickest, easiest, least amount of mess possible, good cups of coffee you can make on the road. So for me, having an AeroPress is, that's why it's number one. You know, the AeroPress is up there for me. Number two is a headlamp. This one might seem pretty obvious if you're a hiker or something like that, but if you're not, having a headlamp is huge. If you ever have any problems at night, it makes it so much easier if you put the headlamp on and then you have both of your hands free to sort of diagnose the problem, see what's going on. I just got these cheap ones off Amazon. They do take batteries. I'm not sure if batteries is better or worse. If you carry extra batteries and the battery dies, you can just put new ones in. The problem is if you don't have batteries, you can't just charge it up. I do think I would like to get a USB rechargeable one, but for right now I've got lots of batteries and this headlamp works fine. Again, it was just a cheap one. It's probably not the most reliable, but getting a good headlamp I do think is a must. The next one that you might not know or think about is a squirt bottle. I use this squirt bottle to do my dishes. Reason being is that if you're living in a van, your freshwater supply is limited, and it always sucks wasting water just to do dishes because that's going to reduce the amount of time you can go between water fill-ups. So what I do is I actually boil hot water. I put it into the squirt bottle with some soap, some dish soap, and then I use the squirt bottle to squirt the dishes, clean them, and then I just rinse them off with the fresh water. So it drastically reduces the amount of water that I use when I'm doing dishes, and it increases the amount of time I can go between water fills. So that's been a huge one for me. Every time I do dishes, it's with the squirt bottle, same technique. Boil some water, put it in the squirt bottle, soap, go from there. The next one is some wet wipes, moist towelettes, whatever you want to call them. For me, sometimes it goes a few extra days in between showers, and it's really nice just to be able to wipe your hands, face, you know, anywhere else that you need to wipe down. Just kind of freshens it up and makes it so you can get maybe that extra day between showers. And it just makes you feel a lot cleaner too, you know, wipe your face, wash everything. And maybe this is too much information, but it's just, I like having them around. It's just like, for me, it's a must-have. Just helps me keep clean and feel clean and not start to feel gross in the van. Another one is earplugs. For me, I always carry a set of earplugs. I got these ones. They're actually meant for musicians, so you can still sort of hear with them, but they drone out most. It's a certain frequency that they're designed to drone out. Depending on where you're sleeping, if you happen to sleep at a truck stop or something like that that's really noisy, it's nice to be able to throw these earplugs in and be able to get a good night's sleep. Some people argue that I've told this, that, you know, what about for safety? I like to be able to hear around the van. You're still going to hear if someone's banging on the door or people talking outside, but just sort of those repetitive sounds that are stopping you from falling asleep and keeping you maybe a little bit paranoid, it's going to drone those out and let you get a much better night's sleep. So I always carry these with me. I sleep with them often, and yeah, I recommend it. A spare key. A lot of people, it surprises me how many people do not carry a spare key in their vans. You should have somewhere hidden on your van, whether it's, you know, underneath the van somewhere in a lockbox, or on your roof rack, or on your spare tire, or underneath the hood, or wherever. You should try to have a spare key hidden somewhere, because that's really the key to your house. It's the key to your van. It's the key to kind of everything. Some of these vans have these weird quirks where if you close the door, it'll self-lock after so many minutes, and then your key's locked inside. I've seen that happen. One time, Sarah and Alex from Sarah and Alex James, they were visiting me at my family cottage, and their van did the auto lock thing. They didn't have a spare key. And so we were doing, we had the coat hangers, and we were trying to, do the coat hanger thing. We must have been working at it for, 3 hours. That wasn't working. And then we actually took the roof vent off the van, and I was pretty small, so I was like almost all the way inside, crawling in their van through the roof vent. I was kind of at that point of no return where I either had to drop in the van or come back out. And then all of a sudden, Alex actually got the door open with the coat hanger. I still can't believe that actually worked. And I kind of forgot about that. And I think he had to do it a few more times before he actually got a spare key. So just get a spare key, you're not going to regret it. Another little handy thing I like to have is one of those grip strength things. I keep that on my dash. It's just kind of nice when you're driving, just have something to do. Keeps the blood flowing, and on those long drives, just nice to have stuff that kind of keeps the blood flowing, keeps you moving, keeps you awake. So for me, the grip strength thing works great. I always just have it on the dash, somewhere where I see it, and so I remember to do it, because I don't know for you guys, but sometimes if it's out of sight, it's out of mind, I'll forget about it. So I just keep it up on the dash, grab it, use it, a few times when I'm driving. Next one isn't really a necessity, but but I really enjoy it. It's called the pedal box. And what the pedal box is it basically makes a Sprinter van, or any vehicle that the accelerator is throttled by wire, it gets rid of a lot of the lag. If you've ever driven a Sprinter van, you'll know that when you push the gas, it's almost like it's got like a turbo that spools up. It's just like, and then it goes, there's that pause. And a lot of that pause is because there's a delay in the accelerator actually sending the signal to the motor to, okay, it's time to go. So what the pedal box does is it actually modifies that signal being sent and increases the responsiveness. So when you do step on the gas, the responsiveness is immediate. So the vehicle is going to go right away. Makes it a little bit safer when you're pulling out onto intersections, because there's not that lag. It's just step on it and go. Personally, it does make the vehicle drive a whole lot better. For me, it's a worthwhile investment on your van. Next one is to have a good set of tools. When putting together a toolbox for your van, you should have a super wide variety of tools so you can almost fix anything within reason. I mean, some jobs are obviously going to be overhead, but just, you should be able to take your tire off, make sure you've got the right size socket, the right size wrench, a breaker bar, something like that so you can properly get it off. It's not a bad idea to carry a torque wrench, so when you do put the tire back on, you can torque it properly. Have a proper jack that you can lift the van up with, just things like that. On top of tools, it's good to have the right recovery gear. I'm not going to go into a big detailed video on recovery gear, but some of the basics I have. I carry max tracks, which I've used. I carry a shovel, which I've used. I have an air compressor I've used. I used lots. I have a tow strap. I have tire chains. I'm sure I got a few other things, but those are some of the primary things that I carry, and I have had to use every single one of them. I've had to use them all on my van, and I've had to use them when I'm traveling with people. If they don't have it, I've had to use it to help them get unstuck. So every van that I have will have this, and I think it's super crucial that A, you have it, and B, that you know how to use it. Especially things like tire chains like that. Most of the time you're never going to need them, but if you do need them, it's going to be in a storm, it's going to be windy, snowy, you're not going to know how they go on, you're going to be out there and just like scratching your head. So make sure if you do buy chains or any recovery gear, you practice putting it on, you know how it works, and when it comes time to use it, you're not sitting there scratching your head with no idea what's going on. Another one that I think every van should have is a little small broom and dustpan and a little hand vacuum. I use this all the time. Sand is always getting everywhere in the van, so it's nice to be able to, sweep it up quick, sweep it out the door. And the vacuum is amazing for dog hair. If you have a dog, As you guys know, I've got Ellie. She's a big shedder. I love her to death. That's the one downfall, is she sheds like crazy, especially 2 times a year when she's blowing that undercoat. So for me, the vacuum and a small dustpan and broom are must-haves in my van. The next item that I'm really glad that I have is, I call it my spare bedroom, and it's a hammock. I've got a way that I can rig up a hammock inside the van, and that way when anyone comes to visit me, we have 2 places to sleep. Mind you, I usually get stuck on the hammock because I actually know how to sleep in it and find it kind of comfortable. But that way, my bed's a little tight for 2 people, especially 2 buddies, so one person gets the bed, one person gets the hammock. And it's also really nice if you're at a campsite for a while, being able to string it up and have somewhere to relax during the day. So yeah, hopefully you found that information helpful. Those are kind of my van life, little van item, van